I have a few points to make about Russia and Ukraine that contradict some of the false narratives pushed by the mainstream media. One is that Ukraine is not a democracy and is not similar to America. It is actually a very corrupt nation with a corrupt leader. President Zelensky is not the great person we're led to believe he is. Each of Ukraine's political parties whose views differ from the status quo have been banned, and their news media have been combined into one central outlet, so that there's no alternative to the narratives endorsed by the wealthy ruling class. Ukraine is not America's great, innocent overseas twin, as the press portrays it to be. Now, this is not to say that we shouldn't sympathize with the people of Ukraine. These people have suffered unimaginable loss, and they need our prayers and support. But when Americans display the Ukrainian flag on their property or on their social media pages, the message being sent isn't one of support for the Ukrainian people, but rather support of the entire nation, including their government. We should only support Ukraine as a nation in the specific sense that they successfully hold their ground against Russia. That's it. By bearing the Ukrainian flag, people are expressing support of dictatorship and corruption. This is not their intention, but that is why it's important to be informed. Here's the thing that really drives me crazy about this whole situation. There are two countries at the center of the conflict, as we know, and both countries have their government and their people. So there are 4 directly involved groups that the press should be talking about, yet we only hear about 3 of these. We hear about Ukraine's government and leadership, which we're told is good despite the fact that it's corrupt. We hear about the Ukrainian people and how they're innocent victims, which is true. We hear about Russia's government and how it's very evil and corrupt, which is also true. Then there's the Russian people, who are completely missing from the narrative. There are 144 million people in Russia, 3 times the population of Ukraine, who have suffered under Putin's tyrannical leadership for over a decade, yet we don't hear a word about them. Putin's actions against Ukraine have caused an economic crisis in Russia. They've had runs on banks and their interest rate has skyrocketed. To add insult to injury, big corporations such as Netflix, Apple, and Disney have cut back services to the Russian people. Again, I'm not trying to downplay the plight of the Ukrainian people at all. They're the ones who are under attack, and what they've gone through is horrific. My point is that to be so pro-Ukraine, yet completely fail to recognize the impact on the Russian people, is an unnatural response to this situation if you think logically. In fact, ignoring the Russian people hurts the political mainstream in a sense, because the one-sided support basically proves that this is all about pushing a narrative rather than reacting naturally based on the facts. Even at my church, the congregation says a prayer every week for the people of Ukraine, but never for the people of Russia. When I pray on my own, it's a package deal. I won't pray for one without the other. More Americans need to make their own assessments and stop letting the media do their thinking for them.